All right, good evening from the MHA podcast. It's Tuesday night. Eric Lansing, Mikey Renault, and Todd Diamond. We're here to talk about week 2. We're going to look back, talk about what was some cool things that happened, some bad things that happened, take a look at something. We'll take a look at the panic meter, talk about some players that have been quite concerning through the first 2 weeks, of course, the news, and next week's matchups. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this Tuesday evening? Mikey?
I'm okay. Like, I think
Sure.
people.
Can we get you a doctor? Can we get you a drink? The biggest news happened to your team. Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's obviously not what I wanted.
No, I don't think
And
anybody plans for that type of stuff.
yeah,
But you seem
but
to do okay with the rest of your team, at least this
yeah,
week.
yeah, and so I am by no means panicking, but not happy either.
Todd, are you not happy? You won this week. You beat Allen barely. But how are you feeling these days?
You know, it's better going into the next week with a win. Obviously, it's a little nervous. Like, I can't go into. I'm 0-2 in my other league, so it's better to kind of plan going into the next week when you get a win, knowing that you still some question marks, still some things I got to quote unquote nip in the bud a little bit to make sure that can keep winning, because they do have a few concerns on my team, but we'll talk about that as this podcast goes on.
Panic meter coming up for Todd's team for sure. I'm doing all right these days. I mean, I'm 2-0, have the highest point total in the entire league. Pretty good. You guys want to know what year? You guys want to guess what year was the last time the Lemonheads went 2-0?
2009.
2000. Wow, you think I'm that bad?
No,
that's wrong. There you go.
Oh wow, I got it right. Okay.
No, you didn't get it right.
Oh, okay.
What about you, Mike? You want to throw a guess out there? When was the last time the Lemonheads went 2-0?
I'll say 2018.
Still incorrect, but you were closer. It was 2020.
Since
the last time Lemonheads went 2-0. You want to know the last time I went 3-0? Anybody want to throw out a guess?
Never.
I hate you so much, Mikey.
I'll go maybe one of your championship year. No, because
it was 2017.
Okay.
And I only finished 5th that season. But it's been a while. It's been a lot of last couple of years. I've started the season 0-2. So 2-0 is a big difference for the Lemonheads here today. All right. Well, we got a lot to talk about. Let's get into that news.
I don't understand what the news is. It's just like, hey, here's a bunch of you can't fix that happened that was horrible.
And of course, as most people already know, Joe Burrow, Tamales' starting quarterback and first round pick, dealing with some extreme turf toe that requires surgery and will be out about 3 months. Mikey's not panicking, but is Mikey have a plan going forward? And do you want to share that plan with everybody, or are you going to keep it on the DL?
I'll keep it on the DL for now.
Boo. Come on, share with the audience.
Okay. I'll give you the immediate plan.
All right, give us some.
The immediate plan is for Caleb Williams to be the starter.
Chicago Bears starting quarterback? The Bears? You're relying on the Bears to help you with something?
For now. I'll go out there and I'll go find a backup, obviously, and then we're just going to take it from there. But I drafted him as the number 1 backup for a reason, and so I wasn't hoping for this to come the way it did, but hey, he's got to come through for me now.
So there you have it. Joe Burrow out for up to at least 3 months. If he comes back, what is that? September, October, November. So pretty close to the end of the season, at least fantasy season, but we'll see. The other owner that drafted a quarterback in the first round saw their signal caller not have a great week. He got hurt. Josh Allen got popped in the grill. Won't miss time, apparently, but he is expected to wear a clear visor for protection this Thursday night against the Dolphins. Any concerns there for Kevin's team, Todd? Or is he going to be just fine?
It'd be just fine. I mean, I don't know. They always, I always say breathe. Sometimes breathe through your nose. Well, I don't know. Might be just a. I have to breathing through your nose may not be the best thing because that might just hurt just a little bit. But no, I think he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And that's you don't need your nose to throw the football. So
hopefully it's not messed up too much because his wife is fine.
yeah.
So I'm sure they'll fix that up real nice for him. We'll keep going. More quarterback news. Chad Powers fan club saw Jaden Daniels go down with a knee injury and is listed as day-to-day. Todd, any concerns about Jaden Daniels being the number 1 overall scoring quarterback this year now?
Well, that news does not doesn't my prediction of him being the finishing number 1 in fantasy football is that prediction might have died really quick, and it's only week 2. But yeah, the Commanders are going to be careful. They're going to be careful with him. I mean, if he's the franchise, so you got to be very careful with him. Going forward, just to make sure he's okay, because you don't want to bring him out. You don't want to put him out too quickly, and then ends up getting injured even more, and then you're really up a creek without a paddle. So got to just be careful with it. Be careful with him.
Tell Jaden Daniels to get some muscles. Put some bulk on, goddammit.
I know.
Even more quarterback news. J.J. McCarthy will be out for the next couple weeks after suffering a high ankle sprain. So Cooper's Cousins will be forced to use his 6th-round pick, Baker Mayfield. He scored 48 points this weekend on his bench. So maybe good news for Cooper's Cousins.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Todd. You want to say something?
I was just going to say, because I have Baker in my other leagues, but yeah, I would have.
We're not talking about your other league. Why even bringing that up?
I'm just saying Baker's a better option.
Just because he's on your team on another league?
Well, I have Goff on my bench team.
Yeah.
But anyway, but
like
I
you
think
know what you're doing in that other league.
Yeah.
Gonzo Cat starting wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. apparently has been dealing with a wrist injury, thus a slow start to the season. You think that's true, Miguel, or is that all a bunch of BS? Was it his wrist that was... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, maybe it's because Mac Jones is not his quarterback anymore and Trevor Lawrence is.
Maybe. It's not his wrist throwing interceptions to the other team. Brian Thomas. Maybe we'll talk about him in the panic meter coming up at the end of the show. And last thing I have, Vikings running back and NWA starting running back Aaron Jones pulled his hammy this past Sunday and will miss at least 4 games. Tough for your boy there, Todd. I know you love you some Aaron Jones, but Jordan Mason right there to pick up the slack, and I get to play against him this week. So fun.
Just like Mark Andrews, Aaron Jones is over, right, Todd?
Right, Todd?
Yeah, not
I don't know. Pollen will tell you that he thinks he's done with Mark Andrews after talking to him this morning. But we'll get into that. Let's get into the recap of this past week. Let's start with the only matchup on the week that featured 1-0 teams going against each other, and that was the Lemonheads versus the Hot Tamales. Mikey Squad jumped out to a fast start on Sunday morning. James Cook, boy, he was awesome. Lit up the Jets defense to the tune of 132 rush yards and 2 rush TDs, 26 points. And how about Brandon Aubrey? Good gravy. 22 ridiculous points. That crazy Giants-Cowboys game. A lot of fantasy points had to be in that one. In the same game, Lemonhead's first-round pick, CeeDee Lamb, caught 9 balls for 112 yards to 14 points. The key to this matchup may have been the Jared Goff versus Amon-Ra St. Brown, and boy, did both of these guys go off against the Bears' defense. Lemonhead's quarterback, Goff, completed 23 passes, 334 yards, 5 TDs, 66 points, but exactly half of those went to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who scored 33. But the deciding factor at the end of the day, of course, was Joe Burrow, who only finished with 16 points before he got hurt. Chuba Hubbard scored late in his game to make it 2 straight weeks of 16 points, and the Lemonheads would go on to cruise to the second most points scored on the weekend, defeating the Tamales 151-128. Yours truly now 2-0. Tamales 1-1. Mikey, just unfortunate. I gave Joe Burrow 45 points. That would have given you the win this week. So that's just how it goes sometimes. But as the owner, and we kind of talked about it before, despite Joe Burrow going down, it seems like your team's going to be pretty formidable to beat this season.
I sure hope so. It's going to be different because the whole point of having Burrow was to get that 55 to 60 point upside, and no matter what I do now, I lose that. So yeah, it's just hoping that the rest of my team is good and that I can, have 45 to 50 points and try and work it that way.
Well, if you get double digits and close to 30 points from your kicker, Mikey, yeah, you might be just fine too. Jeez. Man,
Well, they don't get to play the Giants every weekend, but it's nice to have a great kicker like Aubrey. That's why Mikey went and got him early. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So who did score the most points on the weekend? That came from Kilgore Trout, who tallied 153 points in their win over Eaton W's. Well, when you have Dak Prescott in that wild game, as we just mentioned, between those Cowboys and Giants who scored 77 total points, Dak had 64 points, 38 on completions. Kilgore also got a big-time game from Devin Achane, who caught 8 passes, one of those for a TD towards 21 points. And on the other side, well, we mentioned Josh Allen, who went bananas 2 weeks ago. But this week, the Jets mollywopped the Bills quarterback in the face, and he wasn't the same after that, only managed 25 points. Despite getting double-digit point totals from 8 of his 9 players, it wasn't enough for Kevin's team, who fell to 1-1, while Joe's squad improved to 1-1. How did the other host on this show do this weekend? Well, the Butterfingers took on the Belt Sanders in a battle of 0-1 teams. After just 3 points from Jamar Chase in week 1, Allen's team got a huge performance from the Bengals wide receiver, scoring 28 points, 14 receptions, 165 yards, and a TD. Despite that loss of Joe Burrow, and the Belt Sanders took their very unappreciated running back duo of Travis Etienne and Ramondre Stevenson and combined for 32 points and really put Todd kind of on the hot seat. He was sweating it up a little bit on that Sunday, but Puka Nacua shutting up all the doubters once again this week. He caught 8 passes, 91 yards, and rushed for a 45-yard touchdown. CMC doing his thing once again, lit up the stat sheet for 20 points, and the Butterfingers sneak out a 125 to 112 victory to get even at 1-1, while the Belt Sanders fall to 0-2. Todd, you were definitely concerned at moments in this game, but your team pulled it out. How are you feeling about your team, whether it's this week or moving forward?
Well, I definitely have to do some tweaking, but like I said before we started, it's better to do some tweaking on a win than it is on a loss, for sure. Obviously, Stafford, Puka, and CMC came through for me, but I definitely have some. I have some concerns. I mean, the RJ Harvey thing is just not.
We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, but yeah, so I definitely have some tweaking to do as well going forward because I just getting a lot of single digits. Let's put it this way: when your kicker gets more points than one of your running backs, you're gonna have to do some tweaking to fix that because that's you're not counting on your obviously you want your kicker to score many points as it can, but you want your running backs, you want your wide receivers to get you majority of your points, and then whatever your kicker gets is added bonus. So I have some tweaking to do, but it feels good just to get the first win and so forth, and go from there. So
Mikey, are you upset your kicker had more points than your running back?
No, we're an equal opportunity operation.
Oh, gosh.
I love it. Great answer. We saw an incredibly close matchup between 1-0 Lion Rip versus 0-1 Gonzo Cats Malik Neighbors, ladies and gentlemen. What an individual performance by the Gonzo Cats second round pick. 29 points that the Giants wide receiver made the Cowboys defense look absolutely silly. 9 receptions, 167 yards, and 2 TDs. Unreal game. Gonzo Cats first round pick Jahmyr Gibbs did his thing to 18 points. James Conner continues to putter every week. Another double-digit point total. On the other side, Lion Rip saw his starting running back, Jonathan Taylor, just absolutely torch the Broncos defense for 27 fantasy points. And Bijan Robinson, excellent once again, 143 rush yards, 3 receptions, 18 points. This matchup came down to the final game of week 2 between the Chargers and the Texans. Pollen decided to go with Justin Herbert over Bo Nix and saw the Broncos quarterback score 48 points on Sunday. The Houston defense did their part, sacking Baker Mayfield 4 times, 174 return yards for 13 points, but Justin Herbert could only muster up 19 completions and 2 TDs for 41 points, putting the Gonzo Cats 2.73 points behind Lion Rip to fall to 0-2 in the season, despite being the 4th highest scoring team in the league. Lion Rip now 2-0 on the season, and his point total is 3rd highest in the league. Senna got a message from Pollen on the text message on the morning. He didn't believe Miguel, and it cost him. Is that the right move for him to go with Justin Herbert over Bo Nix? Obviously not now, but after the fact. But we saw a couple of questionable quarterback decisions made this weekend.
I could see what he was thinking. Herbert was coming off an amazing game against Kansas City, and the Raiders' defense is nothing to write home about. So yeah, I mean, I see what he was doing. Bo Nix was terrible in week 1, so he was riding the hot hand.
Always dangerous with those situations and hot hands, and sometimes it works out, but I think you draft a guy for a reason in that spot. And I know Indy, they're red, right? I'm looking at it right now. They're red in terms of matchup, but they had a lot of corners out. But yeah, just unfortunate, and we'll keep moving on. The Chad Powers fan club avoided going down 0-2 after defeating the NWA 126-112. G Squad now sits at 1-1. Chad Powers got a nice 47 points from Jaden Daniels, but how about 17 points from Devontae Adams, who reached the century mark and added a tutty, and Saquon doing Saquon things for 17 points as well. The NWA got a 50 burger from Lamar Jackson, who finished with 53. But only got 3 points or less from 4 of his players, including a very disappointing 2 points from Derrick Henry and another bad outing from Isaiah Pacheco, who has 8 total points in the first 2 weeks. And the lowest scoring game of the week came from the notorious CUP and Cooper's Cousins matchup. Quain's team saw Drake May put up another good outing, this time for 49 points, and saw DeAndre Swift record 13 points. Cooper's Cousins made the interesting decision to go with J.J. McCarthy over Baker Mayfield. Vikings QB, who looked impressive in the second half of his game last week, looked absolutely putrid this week before leaving the game with an injury. His 2 rookie running backs totaled 10 points between Genty and Hampton. Final score, 119-84. CUP now 2-0, despite being the 9th highest scoring team in the league. And so going from that to the dough of the week, I think it's got to be the Gonzo Cats, right, fellas?
Yeah, you've got many different options. It could have been Nix. It could have been George Pickens. It could have been,
2 points. Yeah,
there's a lot. It could have been Algier. Could have been anybody.
Yeah. I did the math with the whatchamacallit, the Justin Herbert Baker Mayfield wouldn't have mattered. It would have been closer, but it wouldn't have given him the win. So yeah. Does anybody else see anything else, or is that it? Is that the dough of the week?
That's pretty. Yeah, that's doughy.
Yeah, it could have been mine because Caleb Williams, but I mean,
there's no way you would have started unless you absolutely could see the future. There's no way that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Pollen.
Don't.
All right, so let's look at those studs of the week.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
We'll start with Todd this week. He was great. He was amazing. He was fantastic, as Todd likes to say.
Jared Goff. 66
he's pretty good.
points, 5 touchdowns. Yeah, I mean, is interesting going in the off season. We were talking about it without Ben Johnson there. How is the offense going to look? No, it looks like it's still going pretty good. I mean, except for that week 1. But granted, too, I think we agree that Green Bay's defense is pretty good this year. So, but 66 points. That's pretty good. That's normal in our league. When quarterback throws for 5 touchdowns and 23 completions. That's pretty normal. So, yeah, I'll say Jared Goff for you on that one. It's pretty good.
At the time, I didn't like half of his points went to Amon Ra. I mean, before the whole injury went down, but I was like, my goodness, like, I mean, it's great. I mean, I had Amon Ra. He was my number, I think he was my number 2 wide receiver overall, maybe number 3. And so I loved him, and absolutely. And so I'm glad. I mean, if Burrow didn't go down with an injury, I think he'd be a little more peeved about it. But yeah, I mean, it's good going forward. I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's a great completion guy. Even in his 43 points, he had 31 completions last weekend. Not that number, not the same, but 5 touchdowns will definitely help in that regard. I mean, he's a big time completions quarterback. There'll be a week or two where he doesn't. It's more of the running, and I was worried that it would be more running because it started off that way. Gibbs had a rushing touchdown, and Montgomery had one. I was like, oh boy. But I think Mikey was right. I think good old Detroit was running up the score and their former offensive coordinator. And I like they asked the offensive coordinator, like, do you think they were running it up? He goes, what would you do? Of course he ran it up. I'd do the same thing. So I just thought that was hysterical. Mikey, give me another stud.
I'm going to go with Dak Prescott.
Yep. Goodness.
Yeah, I think this is after week 1 where I don't think he kind of lived up to what we all thought, where bad Dallas defense leads to, Dallas having to throw the ball a lot because, they don't have a running game. Well, that's proven wrong. Javonte Williams has been pretty good. But, I mean, Dallas did have to throw a ton. 38 completions, that's more along the lines of what you would think that they would be getting. So a nice bounce back for Dak with 64 points.
New York Giants defense. Let him run wild for sure. I was as the CeeDee Lamb guy, like, where's the touchdown? He still had 9 catches, so a lot of targets. I'm happy about it. This is what we kind of envisioned with Dak, and I'm glad it's coming around. And he's got Chicago next week. That could be another high scoring game. And then tough Green Bay the next week. But Dak Prescott, of course, helping me with CeeDee Lamb. I'll say good old Puka Nacua for Todd's team, because that was huge for him to come up. And I know there was obviously we talked a lot about the Matt Stafford and his back issues and what was going to happen. And he fell in the draft because a lot of concerns. But man, and I was one of those doubters. I mentioned that, like, going through, like, the doubters and people didn't believe. I was one of them. Not that he wasn't a good wide receiver. I think it was just more the circumstances around him, and Devontae Adams is there. But man, for him to do, they're handing him the ball. That's not good for the Kyron Williams owner and Aaron, but it was just one rushing attempt, but it was enough to get him 45 yards and a touchdown. I mean, he's got 11 targets in week 1, 9 targets in week 2. He's the number 1 guy, and he's proven it. And Todd needed all of it for sure to come through with the victory. Todd, give me another stud.
I'll go with his teammate on the other side. Devontae Adams. 6 receptions, 1 touchdown for 106 yards, 17 points. Again, going into, I mean, obviously Devontae Adams, his talent and what he's done and everything speaks for itself. But he kind of slow start. Last week he had 22 points last week. Differently, sorry. I had my math wrong on it. But he's just another weapon, and he had a great game, 17 points. So good for Miles on that one.
Yeah, bad week last week. Great turnaround. Tennessee, very bad defense. They took full advantage of that. And if any offense can support 2 wide receivers, it's the Rams. They've done it in the past, and they continue to do it here today. Mikey, you have another stud for me?
Yep, let's go with Jonathan Taylor.
Goodness gracious. That was tough to watch.
What's so funny is that I don't think anybody saw that coming against the Broncos defense, where they couldn't stop anything. And for the most part of the game, Jonathan Taylor was like, he was good, don't get me wrong, but he just had a couple game breaking plays that just put him way over the top. 60 something yard run, and he had a couple big plays in the passing game too. And so I think he's always one of those guys you forget has that type of ability. And yeah, he really came through big for Aaron this week.
I know a lot of people were concerned about Jonathan Taylor going into the season because he was not that productive in like the first, I don't remember what it is, 11 or 12 games, but then he really exploded the last month or month and a half of the season to put up these just game winning. If you had him, you pretty much you're right there to win a championship. And yeah, he still has that ability. A lot of people are concerned about the quarterback situation, especially with Anthony Richardson, but good old Daniel Jones in there. There's a lot of fantasy value now with the Colts. So that's definitely interesting to see. And so, yeah, Jonathan Taylor, just watching him against the Broncos, definitely pretty tough. And so I'm going to go back to Kilgore Trouts for our last stud. And I'm going to go right back to Achan, who 8 receptions against New England, caught a touchdown pass. This is what Joe envisioned when he drafted him, that he's not going to get you 100 rushing yards. He's not going to be efficient on that side of things. He'll break out for a big rushing, long run to kind of maybe help some of that. But in his receiving, he's got 2 receiving touchdowns already and 11 receptions already in the first 2 games. And I mean, while that offense and the Tyreek Hills and the Jalen Waddles, that's going to be up and down. Achan's going to benefit, and he's going to be the consistent one. That's whether they win or not doesn't matter for fantasy purposes. But Achan's going to get those checkdowns, and he's the guy. He is the fantasy guy, and really no one else over there, at least on a consistent basis. All right, dud time.
This is the worst. You are the worst. I hate looking at your face. I want to smash it.
Mikey's whose face should deserve smashing after a bad week 2?
Well, I'm going to go with a guy that had a bad week 1 and week 2, and that's go to my favorite position in the tight end. I'm going to go with Evan Ingram for Belt
kidding.
Sanders. Like, this may be something where Sean Payton's ruining a lot of people's days with how he's playing different players. I mean, it's not just the fact that Evan Ingram's been bad and, he hasn't done what everybody kind of expected from him, is that he's not really getting the opportunity to, because he's not, on the field as much as, people think he should be. I mean, he's getting out snapped every game by Adam Troutman.
I was just going to say, I feel like I'm seeing more Troutman than Ingram.
Yeah, which is just very odd. And so, I'm not sure what that's all about. I mean, he was a big offseason addition, but he's definitely not living up to it.
They paid him like he was a big-time offseason addition. They have definitely not used him in that regard. And we'll talk more about him. I think I put him on the panic meter as well. Todd, give me a dud from this past weekend.
Mario Hampton. Understand he's a rookie, and rookies are we always think running back's the easiest position to transition over from college to the NFL, but he just hasn't had maybe he's still trying to find his footing a little bit more, but 7 the first week and then 3 the next. Not good. Not for a running back that that you're expecting to take over. I was almost going to go between him or Ashton Genty, because they just haven't had. Genty had 11 points week 1, but Hampton just hasn't been able to kind of figure it out. And his backup, Najee Harris, who I said earlier in the podcast over the summer when we did our rankings show, I said, well, Najee Harris might start, might be the more, not the better back, but start a little bit more. And, I know you guys said, well, what are you talking about? Drafted Hampton so early, you're drafting him to be the guy. And it's only 2 weeks, but he's just not living up to it, at least for the first 2 weeks. And, we know in the NFL, it's kind of, what have you done for me lately? And, granted, it's only 2 weeks, but those 2 weeks could be kind of a devastating, punch out for him. And they'll just, they'll say, well, Harris is let's see what we could do with Harris for a little bit. And that might push Hampton, away with the carries. And that's the kind of thing with RJ Harvey. But again, that's for the panic panic portion of the podcast. So
I'll kind of piggyback on that because I just put rookies.
Mhm.
Like you talked about Genty, 7 points, Hampton, 3 points, Trevion Henderson, 4 points, RJ Harvey, 2 points, Travis Hunter, who wasn't started but drafted high or high-ish, 4 points. And so a lot is being put, and you talk about Cooper's Cousins, who has both Genty and Hampton, first and second round picks. You're relying on guys that have done absolutely nothing in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And so in those moments, there are, and there's a lot of cases where rookie running backs have done well in those situations. But to have two,
Mm-hmm.
and you're hoping both of them are going to spike. And now I'm not saying it's not going to happen. We're only in week 2. But Gonzo Cats, not Gonzo Cats, excuse me, Cooper's Cousins, 0-2. And now you're having to dig. But maybe things turn around. They turn into what he expects them to be, and then they go on a run. But is that going to be after 0-3? Is that going to be after 0-4? I don't know. I'm more, and Mikey always makes fun of you for this, but I'm always the safer. I'm going to go with the safer option. But there's something to guys that have done it before, as opposed to guys that's never done it. You know, and so I know we were joking a lot about Najee Harris, and is he really worthy? Is he really better than Hampton? Probably not at the end of the day, but right now Harris is probably better than him. And so I think there's that conversation about in any rookie situation.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about CUP's team having a lot of rookies, and his Tet pick, he actually had double digits. So it was like 10 or 11. So not huge, but CUP's 2-0. And so, and then that could be for other reasons. Go figure. Mikey, give me another dud.
I was just gonna say, I think it's funny. So it's easy to after the fact, but you know it'll happen again next year. Oh, these rookies, gotta have them first round, second round.
They're tantalizing.
Yeah,
They're very tantalizing.
Shiny new toys.
I'm gonna go with Marvin Harrison Jr.
One of your guys.
After a great first week for him. Not very good this week. Only 2 catches. He got me 3 points. And, you know, that may have a little bit to do with J.C. Horn being a real thing as a lockdown corner. He got paid for it in the offseason, and he shut down Brian Thomas Jr. week 1, Harrison week 2. So that could possibly be a thing. We'll see. He's got Drake London week 3. So, but yeah, not a good week for Harrison.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of that offense. I've only seen kind of the parts of the one game that we watched on Sunday, and I mean they're utilizing Benson a little bit more, along with Connor. McBride gets some catches. I'm not sure what to think about that offense yet. I don't know if Harrison super cause for concern, but I just don't know what to think. Todd, you want to give me another dud?
I'm gonna go with what was the one? Brian Thomas Jr. Not, you know, he was really, really big surprise last year. But yeah, not the start. 8 and 6, not what you're looking for a wide receiver that was supposedly supposed to be the number one guy. Has just, I mean, granted, again, there is an injury. We don't, obviously the injury, the wrist or whatever, but they said that if he has a good week of practice, then he'll play. But yeah, only 4 catches for 49 yards. That's not what you're looking for. For a number one wide receiver. That's like if he was like a rookie. Okay, fine. That's just, but this is his second year and he should be doing better. But
all right, so let's utilize that because he's the first name I have on my panic meters, Brian Thomas Jr. So 1 equaling very little panic, or 10 meaning to drop or trade this player, Mikey Brian Thomas Jr., who has 8 points over the first 2 games of the season. Are we panicking a little, or should we be panicking a lot?
I mean, it's a little. I don't think it's a big time panic with him. I mean, last year you saw. I mean, he's a great talent. don't really know why Jacksonville is struggling so much, other than the fact that it's Trevor Lawrence. But I mean, it's all you got to also remember they have a new coach in here trying to install a new offense, and you see the struggles that Chicago's having with that too. It takes some time to get that going, and I think as the season goes, he'll get better and better.
So is that a 1 or a 2? I need a number from you.
I'll go 1.
Todd, 1 to 10. Where's your panic?
I'll say a 4 because it's
Yeah, I'm going to be more in between. I'm going to go 2, 3. I'm probably 3 because Trevor Lawrence, he's just turning the ball over at a ridiculous rate, bothersome, but I think he'll be fine. Let's go to someone that's a little more closer to Todd's heart, and Terry McLaurin. Game with 3 points, a game with 7 points. And actually, I'm going to go back to Brian Thomas real quick. He had 8 points in the first game, 6 points in the second. My mistake. Terry McLaurin, 3 points in the first game, 7 points in the second. He has 7 catches for 75 yards in 2 games, no TDs. Of course, McDaniels kind of dealing with an injury, although it's day to day. Todd, your panic meter reading from 1 to 10. He's on your squad.
Yeah. So of course I'm gonna be biased. I want to say a 1 because I think at least that they know they have to get him the football, but I'll say it is a little alarming. But I'll say a 5, even though he's on my team. I'll say a 5.
If someone comes in with a trade offer, are you considering it?
Not well, if it's like right now or just
because you were saying at the beginning of the year, top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah, I did.
But you can change that now. If someone came in with a trade offer, would you consider it, or you'd be less likely to trade him? 5's on the fence.
I would be unlikely to trade him because I mean, like
you sound frustrated.
I'm frustrated because I think if I traded him and he just goes, I'd be kicking myself. It almost be like the trade.
Have the Raiders in week 3, so maybe this is a good test week.
Yeah,
for Terry
yeah.
He hasn't had a preseason, so maybe he's still kind of going through the motions and figuring out to stretch out his legs and learn whatever. So, but maybe the Vikings, who currently at this moment are 4th in the league in points allowed to wide receivers, that's a good measuring stick for you.
Yeah. So,
but at the same time,
yeah,
it might be too late. If he doesn't do well against that team, he might be yours for a little while. But you never know. What do you think, Miguel? Give me your panic meter reading. Easy for me to say.
I'm at a 7.
Ooh, high.
God,
Mikey's saying trade him now. Get rid of him while he has something of value left.
Well, me and you saw this coming.
Yeah.
We knew, because so much of it was reliant on touchdowns. We knew that regression was going to come. And what's actually started to happen is with him missing training camp allowed Deebo Samuel to kind of come in and, start to be the number 1-ish option. And so, I'm very concerned there. And now if McDaniels misses any time, I don't even know what's going to happen with Mariota, in there throwing passes to him. So,
oh, dear Lord.
Yeah.
Sell. Panic mode is going off the charts. Mikey says a 7. I'm kind of at the 6 area because I was never a huge believer even before. And so, it's a scary situation there in Washington. Let's go to another guy that's really close to Todd's heart, and RJ Harvey. Mikey, we saw what happened in terms of J.K. Dobbins taking the load, majority of those carries. We saw RJ Harvey running back kickoffs. So from 1 to 10 panic meter reading, where do you have him at?
I'm going to go a 5. So right in the middle. Like, I would like it to be higher based on what we've seen. I was telling you guys I didn't see the Tyler Bidet thing coming, him stealing playing time from Harvey. The reason I'm going lower is, even though he's not getting the snaps from Sean Payton, is that we've seen this happen before where J.K. Dobbins is the number one now. But how
Mhm.
long is this going to last before he gets hurt? Because he's never had a full season where he's been healthy.
Mhm.
And if and when that eventually happens, then Harvey will be the number one.
So, Todd, as the RJ Harvey owner, are you also saying 5? Do you agree with what Mikey is saying, or is there more panic in your world having to have RJ Harvey? Who was your 4th round pick or 5th round pick?
No, it's the 3rd round.
Oh, what? Oh my.
Yeah,
Oh God.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The 3rd round pick. So, how are you feeling about the Broncos running back?
God, just give him the damn ball.
The
Why do
sigh
we?
in his voice.
Why? Just give him the.
It,
Okay, I'm not
I
gonna do
could be
this.
wrong, by the way. If Dobbins got hurt, and then would it 100% shock me if all of a sudden Jaleel McLaughlin's all of a sudden getting all the carries? Then that's just
I,
something Sean Payton would do that would make me laugh.
just
Would
give
make
him the
Todd
damn-
laugh.
Just give him the damn ball. Just give him the damn ball. But okay, I'm right around where Mikey is, about a 5. I mean, my brain does my brain and my frustration want to go with a 10? Like just admit you don't want to give him the ball and just move him down the depth chart even more. But I'd say about a 5, because I mean he's still talented enough. I know these, because we've seen it. We talked about that with Genty and Hampton and everything. These rookie running backs that they're expected to really step in, and obviously Genty for sure. Probably Genty out of the 3 was the one that's like, all right, he's the guy. But yeah, with Harvey, he's just he just has to find his footing. Yeah, he has to find his footing.
He's a rookie.
He's a
Maybe
rookie,
he
and
needs to figure some things out.
yeah, exactly.
But with go
But
ahead, keep
but
going.
drafting him in the 3rd round, yes, that's a that yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. And that was that was a sign, like, oh, he's gonna be the guy. This is
You
and
wanted
again,
it for him to be the guy.
exactly. I mean,
And that's not how you should think as a fantasy owner.
I agree, and
You can't talk yourself into someone because you want it to happen.
I know. That's the Broncos
No,
fan in me
yeah,
too.
you say but you keep doing it.
True.
So many other great players to draft, and I get, but you did the same thing as all the other folks that went with rookies. Like, oh, they could break out. Well, we don't know.
Well,
And
Genty was
I feel like Mike and I had this conversation with, they utilize a ton of people. It's not going to be just one person.
And I mean, again, what ifs in this world, but I'm telling you right now, if we had CMC, I guarantee there would be no committee there. I'll tell you that right now. Sean Payton would be an idiot moron if he's like, no, yeah, we have CMC. We're going to still have a committee. Are you out of your mind?
That just goes to show that RJ Harvey is not CMC.
Well, nobody's CMC.
Let's keep moving on. Let's go to someone that's not on Todd's team. Mikey, Devontae Smith, 3 points, 6 points, 9 targets in 2 games, 7 receptions, 69 yards. AJ Brown not getting a lot of love, only 25 fantasy points from Jalen Hurts this past week. Is there a lot of concern on Devontae Smith? Where's your panic meter reading at?
I'm gonna put this one at a 6. The Eagles, they're a really good team that doesn't have to do a lot to win games, because they can rely on Saquon, they can rely on their defense and the tush push, and so they're just not asking Jalen Hurts to do that much. And at least from what I've seen in these first 2 games, let's not forget, they also have a new offensive coordinator too, with Kellen Moore going to New Orleans, and it's just seems like their new OC is just a little more on the conservative end, and so he's willing to play ball control, and
yeah,
it's
they're
not
2-0. They're 2-0.
Yeah, it's 2-0 doing it too, and so yeah, they're not going to sway away from that unless they have to.
Yep, he was drafted in the 4th round, so this was a guy drafted to be great, and he hasn't been. And I don't know. I mean, I'm putting that more at a 7, because even with AJ Brown, I still think AJ Brown's the better wide receiver, and I think they're going to try to get him his targets because of what they've paid him. So I feel like Devontae Smith is not going to be where he was drafted to be as such. Todd, you want to give us a quick number, 1 to 10?
I'll say I'll say a 4.
Oh, so not as concerned. How about a guy that is a Denver Bronco in Evan Ingram, who has had 5 total points in 2 games, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 33 yards? Is it fair to say that this could be the highest panic meter reading of this week too, Miguel? I guess we have one more name left, but
I'll put it at a 7 because I think that the concern is warranted just based on his playing time.
Yeah, you talked
I
about him
have
more,
to,
Troutman.
yeah, I have to figure at some point that that's going to go up. And in fairness, he was a little bit banged up going into this game, so maybe that had something to do with it. But it's like you said, they brought him in to be a big part of this offense. So, I mean, I think at some point you're going to see his usage go up. It just has to.
I hope so. And I mean, we've talked about it on this show at nauseum in terms of we've seen tight ends flourish in Sean Payton's system. So why the problems now? It could be a lot of reasons we don't even know. So I don't know if the Evan Ingram owner wants to drop him. I don't think it's Gonzo Cats. No, Gonzo Cats has Mark Andrews, but yeah, I don't know.
Allen has him.
Very scared. What's that? Allen has him.
Yeah.
So another tough one for he has Devontae Smith and Evan Ingram. Todd, your quick thoughts, 1 to 10.
I mean, I would say I do agree. You know, hopefully his usage goes up, but I'm right now till you really see it happen. You gone 10, drop him. It's not.
Here's the fun question with that.
Yes.
Who do you pick up for him? Right. And so I'm not saying you shouldn't drop him, but it's who are you dropping him for? So as I bring this up on my, I guess, very slow computer, and to see which tight ends are available out there, I mean, you have Jake Ferguson, Chiga Okonkwo, Zach Ertz, Dalton Schultz, Dalton Kincaid. Hadn't seen a lot from those guys, at least in the early going. I think Jake at least had 12 points, so maybe you drop him for him, especially in a game against Chicago next week. So those in the waiver wire looking for tight ends. Mikey, would you drop Evan Ingram for Jake Ferguson right now?
That's tough. Like I'm always about trying to see if I was doing it for a week, like if I was 0-2 and I needed, if I felt like tight end was a difference between me winning a week, then yes. But I think if I could deal with having him more, that's hard because I see the upside more with Ingram.
Sure, I get that. All right, so fun panic meter. I don't know if we'll do that every week, but I always like to go after 2 weeks to see everybody's feeling on these things. Kind of a mixed bag there. Let's get into next week's matchups. The 2-0 Lemonheads will take on the defending champs, Kilgore Trout. They're 1-1. Both teams were the 2 highest scoring teams in week 2. So that should be a fun one to watch. Lion Rip at 2-0 will take on the Butterfingers, who are 1-1. Your thoughts on the matchup, Todd?
Well, again, I'm gonna need some big performances from Stafford, Puka, and McCaffrey. Those 3 have to be automatic for me because, Mahomes. I mean, see what Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins. I mean, we've seen that's kind of been, it looks like a dumpster fire there, but yeah. I mean, Bijan and Jonathan Taylor, it's gonna be, yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to. I'm going to score a lot of points. My team is going to have to show up. And the thing too is my team is going to have to show up really, really quick because a majority of my players all play in the morning. And, if that'll be a determining factor going into this week going into this on this Sunday is, if my team if my team can show out really quick and really kind of, throw the hammer down early and really put the pressure on because obviously Mahomes plays at night and they play against the Giants. Oh, joy to the world. Man, Patrick Mahomes is gonna light that. I mean, either he's gonna light that defense up like the 4th of July, or that game's gonna be like the Giants Dallas game, and Patrick Mahomes is gonna have like 100 points. So
or Kansas City's 0-2 right now. Maybe they're not as great as everybody wants them to be.
I agree,
but I would take that over Stafford and Nakua versus Philly's defense, who has been pretty stout so far.
Philly's defense has not been as.
They gave up 28 points to Dak and 40 points to Patrick Mahomes, who had 1 touchdown, and Dak didn't have any. At least 2 quarterbacks. And then let's look at the wide receivers while we're at it. So wide receivers, 12 points for CD. 4 for George Pickens, 10 for Tyquan Thornton because he had a touchdown, and then Hollywood Brown had 6. Tough. Gonna be tough.
Yeah, and he's got
Bijan versus Carolina. I like that. Jonathan Taylor versus Tennessee. Like that too. And then if Stafford or Nakua doesn't do anything, does Kyron Williams go in for Aaron and get a touchdown? Ooh. I would not want to be Todd this week. Notorious CUP, 2-0. We'll get tested with now Joe Burrow less hot tamales, who are 1-1. How are you feeling about your matchup, Miguel?
I mean, I like the matchups that I currently have.
There's some.
I mean, a lot of this will be determined. I think I'm the only one. It'll be Amon-Ra on Monday night. Which should be interesting against Baltimore, which will hopefully be a nice high-scoring game.
Doesn't seem like Baltimore's been super stout this year. Now, they took on Josh Allen, and he's obviously a different planet type of guy, but Cleveland did okay against him. Not great, but I mean that's Cleveland too, so it could be a chance. And obviously Goff and Amon-Ra are top-notch fantasy players.
Yeah.
Continue.
I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. Like, CUP's played the worst schedule so far.
Yeah.
So when you said other factors, I know that's what you were alluding to. So yeah, this will be for him his first test. And, Drake May's been really good for him, but the rest of his team's got to kind of pick it up. So, we'll see what happens.
Who's the backup in Minnesota?
Carson Wentz.
Poor Justin Jefferson.
Now wait a minute.
Wait, oh, man.
I'm just saying. I'm not going to be surprised. Carson Wentz is a veteran quarterback that, was once good. Underneath this coach, they've got some weapons still there. I wouldn't be so quick to, roll, basically trash Carson Wentz. He actually might be decent.
Okay. All right. I can appreciate that. We have 3 teams that are trying to avoid an 0-3 start. Gonzo Cats 0-2, taking on 1-1 Chad Powers Fan Club. 0-2 Belt Sanders will battle 1-1 NWA. And 0-2 Cooper's Cousins will take on the second highest scoring team in the league in Eaton W's, who are 1-1. I'll just quickly talk about my matchup a little bit. It's going to be a tough one. Obviously with golf at Baltimore Monday night, it's at Baltimore. So you don't know what you're going to get out of there, but I love that Dak Prescott on the other side is obviously taking on Chicago. I'm not excited about Dak, but I have CeeDee Lamb. So hopefully he'll eat up a lot of that. Nico Collins has been okay. He had an okay week this past week. Calvin Ridley, we're not sure about that, but obviously H.N.'s been huge, and Juwan Jennings has been okay. That with Aaron Jones out, that puts Jordan Mason into the mix against Cincinnati. But I do like my guys. We'll see. I think my biggest thing is, can Cortland Sutton rebound after a tough week against Indianapolis? But they do have a tough opponent in the Chargers coming up this next week. But should be a fun one. Should be a close one. Anything else we want to say before we get out of here, gentlemen?
Well, all I'll say is, while I had the unfortunate news of Burrow, we know that this will not be the last major injury that happens. Just hopefully it won't be to my team again.
It'd be tough to have to deal with two of them, nonetheless. But I tell you what, I mean, there was a moment even when Burrow was out. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up because you guys, I mean, James Cook and Amon-Ra, those are big time performances for sure. Todd, any last words before we get out of here?
All I would say is, may the fantasy football gods guide the football to RJ Harvey. Please, just give him the ball. Just give him the ball. He's so good. He can be so good.
Sure.
Sean
Payton just doesn't see it, right?
I mean,
you see it, but he doesn't.
There's whispers too. There was whispers like, oh, he's kind of like Kamara. Okay, well, whispers. I mean, I'm saying he's not Kamara, but
Todd Diamond whispers.
I know it's
talk himself into anything.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty much. Yep.
Well, I'm excited to be 2-0 for the first time in a long time. Let's go. Week 3 coming up. Buffalo, Miami on Thursday. Have your players in and have those free agent guys there. We'll see you soon on the MHA podcast.